Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be going over what we know about the prototype from Poppy Playtime, such as his powers, his intentions, his whereabouts, and where we may think he's going to be in future chapters. Let's get started. The prototype was first introduced in Chapter 2. No, not anywhere inside the chapter, but right at the end. Once we turn on the grinder and kill Mommy Longlegs, we can see the prototype grab Mommy Longlegs and drag her to a different room. Before we kill Mommy Longlegs, we can hear her say this: "He will make me a part of him." This is more than likely referring to the prototype taking Mommy Longlegs and using her limbs to make himself stronger. Since Mommy Longlegs was so afraid of this fate, this means that she was definitely not working with the prototype, unlike Catnap, who allowed the prototype to kill him and drag his body away at the end of Chapter 3. Now, while we are on the note of Catnap, Huggy Wuggy, and Mommy Longlegs, let's talk about how I think they came to be. From the game's wiki, we know that the prototype was responsible for the Hour of Joy. What we can guess is that the prototype was fed up with the constant torture that was being brought upon the orphans and himself. We can also guess that the prototype was an orphan himself, since we know Playtime Co.'s Bigger Body initiative would take orphans from the playcare after they went through trials in the game station being monitored by Mommy Longlegs. They would then rank the orphans from 1 to 5 stars, 1 star being very invaluable. Most likely their souls would be put into small toys that we can usually see on the floor, all bloody, such as the headless Huggy Wuggy doll we can always see in every single room you enter. 2 stars was most likely for the smaller enemies in the game, such as the smiling critters we can see crawling around in Chapter 3 in the playhouse. 3-star orphans were most likely the start of the powerhouses of the orphans, most likely being put into the body of Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs. 4 stars being the higher ups in the chain, ones with special powers, such as Catnap. Catnap has different powers from Mommy Longlegs, since he can mess with your mind from his gas, while Mommy Longlegs just has stretchy limbs. But this may come to think, Huggy Wuggy doesn't have any of those powers, so maybe Huggy Wuggy could have been a 2-star monster instead of a 3-star like Mommy Longlegs. 5-star children were extremely rare, being only one that was deemed strong enough to be put into a toy of great power, and that being Poppy. Yeah, you thought it was going to be the prototype, didn't you? Well, you would be right in a way. See, Poppy, being a 5-star child herself, was placed in the very first doll, most likely being the very first 5-star ever to be found in the lab. Now, the prototype was a little different. He most likely was the exact same as Poppy, however, he figured out the true intentions of Playtime Co. This is probably the reason behind him never killing the children he would speak to. As we know, there is a drawing of the prototype under a child's bed, speaking to the child, who we then later figured out was the child who is possessing Catnap. As we know, he would speak to the child possessing Catnap before he was killed. He would never kill the child, but he would use him to set up the Hour of Joy in the future. As we can see in this picture, he is under the bed of an orphan child, presumably talking to him. Now, we figured out that this child right here is actually the child who possesses Catnap. Now that we have talked more about his background and why he started this in the first place, let's move on to some of his intentions. We know that the prototype does not take the bodies of dead toys that are deemed too weak. This is why we never see the prototype take Huggy Wuggy, because he doesn't really have any features that could make the prototype stronger. However, you may say that the prototype could have taken the body of Huggy Wuggy, but we never would have known it due to the fact that Huggy Wuggy fell all the way to the bottom of the factory. But it's more than likely that the prototype did not take Huggy Wuggy and just left his body at the very bottom of the toy factory, because let's face it, our boy Huggy Wuggy does not have any redeeming features about him that the prototype could most likely use. In one of the VHS tapes we can watch, we can hear the prototype has the powers to mimic voices from other people that they have heard. Let's listen to the VHS now.
Log code 24459. In relation, experiment 1006. The prototype. Stubborn as he is, and always silent with each passing session, I'm still uncovering fresh data nonetheless. Today's discovery. End of log.
Ready to talk now, are you? I possess
a question.
Go ahead.
Do you feel anything?
This question referred to what exactly?
You stick us, beat us, tear at flesh. Do you feel it?
But there's a secret inside you, 1006. Valuable beyond all measure. I cut and prod and burn at it. And I get closer with each session. So speak. Or don't. Fight. Or give in. Regardless, I learn something new about you every day. It excites me.
Thank you.
You thank me?
Absolutely.
I learn something new about you every day.
We can hear that the prototype has the ability to mimic voices from other people that it has heard. The prototype also says that the endless beating, tearing of flesh, do you feel it, is the prototype's way of subtly telling the man in the VHS tape that he's gonna die soon, mentioning the hour of joy very vaguely. More than likely, the prototype was so tired of the endless pain and agony of being abused by the humans that it gained its own ambitions and consciousness, which made the prototype want to kill every member of faculty that ever worked in the facility. But the prototype knew he couldn't do this all on his own. I think we can all agree that either Poppy or the prototype was the very first toy to gain a mind of their own. But in this video, we will assume the prototype was patient zero, meaning it gained its consciousness first. Since the prototype knew he couldn't do all of this on his own, he decided on a plan. He would try to escape his chamber and go around and play care, and before the children were killed and put into toys, he would try to influence them to be on his side, and try to accomplish his goals when they did turn. We have some evidence to this when we hear that the prototype would speak to children, as we can see from this drawing of the prototype under a child's bed supposedly speaking to him. We later found out that this kid was the one possessing catnap after he was killed. To start off his plan, he would need a distraction. He then persuaded Huggy Wuggy to make a break for the outside the facility. Huggy Wuggy then ran outside of the factory through the cargo transportation room, while Huggy Wuggy ran outside. The prototype made his move. The prototype used a laser from inside of the room from a digital alarm clock to shut off the cameras in the room, hensing how overly intelligent the prototype is. The camera shut off for a mere 28.3 seconds, and at that time, the prototype couldn't be seen on any of the cameras when they rebooted. Faculty sent in an unnamed employee to check on it. The prototype was still inside of the cell, however, it was in a blind spot. Once the employee opened the door, the prototype ran to the door to try and escape. However, the door was shut by another faculty member before the prototype could escape. In his fit of rage, the prototype killed the employee that was locked up inside, ripping him to shreds. Later on through the story, as we can see from Poppy, the Hour of Joy took place. The prototype has an insane influence on all of the other toys in the factory. Well, not all of them, because Poppy and Kissy Missy seem to be on our side, so I guess he couldn't get through to some of them, which is why he was able to complete his plan for the Hour of Joy. In case you haven't seen the Hour of Joy in Chapter 3, here it is now. Very disturbing. The prototype had an insane influence on all of the toys, most likely making them realize the torment they were in, and this was the only way to make it end. Now, we do see every major antagonist in the series so far take part in the Hour of Joy, but for some reason, we don't see the prototype take place in his own plan. So, no, I'm not exactly sure as to why he wouldn't take part of it, but my overall thoughts on it would most likely be because he doesn't want to reveal himself to the other toys. Mainly Poppy, because we know the prototype's main enemy is Poppy. Now, we aren't really sure why, but we do know that this is most likely true. But so far, this is about all we know about the prototype. Obviously, we're going to see more of him and learn more of him, but so far we don't really know that much, but I am really excited to learn more and see where the developers at Mob Entertainment take his character and what they do with him. So without any further ado, thank you guys all for watching this video. Hopefully we can figure out more about the prototype soon. Anyways, remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on notifications, and share with your friends. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.